Kaeden, welcome. So this is the UV mapping tutorial. I was originally going to make this 2 minutes, but it ended up taking 50 minutes before editing. Anyway, it doesn't matter. So what we have here is our basic character model, and we have this texture of this dude, and basically I'm just going around and selecting each body part and cube projecting them. So we just did the torso. We're going to select the legs. Once again, U on the keyboard and cube project. Then in here I separate the different islands for like the calf and the thigh. So I do place them backwards, so the left leg's on the right side and the right leg's on the left side, but anyway. There we go. Both thighs were done. Now it's time for the calves. So once again, select the body part, cube project it, and in here I'm just stacking the islands. And yeah, I'm just fitting it over the leg and stretching it to get more texture in there. Obviously, use whatever resolution texture you want. The lower resolution, the more stylized. And I believe in the in this little like orange box for the image, there's an option to set it to linear or nearest neighbor, or like nearest pixel or whatever. And basically that just prevents low resolution textures from getting blurry as you like scale them up. Basically it keeps the pixels crisp. Alright, so once again, here we are unwrapping the forearms. I'm making sure to leave a bit of hand sticking out, even though there's no finger models or anything. You can still see the hand effect in there. For the head, instead of cube projecting, we're gonna project from view. So I'm making sure to select only the front faces and then project from view. So now I have that. Just fit that in there. His jaw actually fit the bevel quite nicely. I end up redoing this a bit later. He will also not have ears because the texture just didn't work, and for it to work I would have had to like make a separate ear model. So yeah, I end up using his cheek, and then the top rectangle I end up kind of using it somewhere else, as you're seeing right now. Now it is gonna have a bunch of seams because like we're grabbing texture from all over the place. So if you really don't want seams, you could add a new image texture for texture painting, and basically like clone stamp, I guess it is, or like texture paint on top of the seams to like blur them together. You can't really do that as of now, like as is, because the islands are using, like if you were to like try to blur two islands together, it would affect the texture of the dude on the right. To paint over the seams, you would actually have to do a couple of things. You'd have to make a new texture, and you'd also have to get a new UV map. So you go in here, go into UV maps and add a new one, call it seam paint or something, and then you grab your model, and this is like all the islands for the textures that we're using. But for this new UV map, which is currently selected, you would have to press U, Smart UV project them, and add a tiny bit of island. That's a bit too much island. Okay, so basically now when you're doing your painting, each face has its own UV that won't get written over twice. So as you can see, we have the original UV map, and we have the scene paint, which is laid out like this. And to actually use the scene paint, you would have to go in the shader editor, grab a mix, and then grab a UV. Now basically just make a texture, so it would be something like this. You may have to swap these, you may not, but either way, that's the setup. And yeah, basically make a new image, and then this image you can texture paint on it, and then you can mix them. So yeah, that's how you do it. So I'm just touching up right now with the shoes. I'm projecting them from that view, so that's an option too. And just like that, we got our little dude. I did no painting, like no texture painting. This was all done with UVs, as you saw. And lastly, I'm gonna animate this dude. So basically I connected the forearm to the bicep to the torso to one leg, cause yeah. You should really be what's the word? Rigging him with a skeleton, but just by parenting pieces together and rotating individual origins and making sure the origin is where it connects. So if it's in the middle of the piece, it's not gonna dance around like that. But if it's, like I said, where it connects, it'll feel connected. And yeah, you basically just select your pieces and then rotate from individual origins, and then they just kind of, it does this cool little dance. And right, you press RR for rotate. You press it twice, and then you get to do this cool little headbangy dance. Alright, thank you so much for watching. It's already going on 5 minutes. At this point, I'm just lighting the scene to give it a bit of like a show vibe, you know, like a whatever, like a show vibe. That's right. For the symmetry of the scene, I decided to add the right dude on a spinning platform. I could have just spun him, but I figured a platform would seem more like grounded in real life. And now with both dudes moving on the edges, then it's kind of like nicer to look at. So there it is, Kaeden. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you got a tip or two out of this. Yeah. So have a good day. Oh, also, I didn't do the shoes because I thought they were cool as is, and so yeah. Alright, have a good day. Bye-bye.